My name is Ryan. I'm also known as Chinglish TV. I am 32 years old. I've been streaming for about 6 years. I've been streaming full-time for about 5.5 years, I would say. I'm going to be talking about today my stream story and how I started streaming and all those types of things. Hello. First things first, if you guys like this format of video and it's something that you guys would be interested in seeing more, make sure you like, subscribe to The Method YouTube. Let them know in the comments and stuff like that you want to see more videos like that. We definitely have some people with Method with some pretty cool stories, and we're not all PvE and PvP lords, so there's stuff that we can do as well. So just let us know down below if you want to see more stuff like this. So my sort of youth, first thing I'll sort of touch on is sort of youth and getting into video games. For me, the area that I grew up in Western Sydney in Australia, it wasn't necessarily like, Western Sydney is not the best area or anything like that. It's definitely not like some rich area or anything. It's known as a pretty bad area. But there was an internet cafe there, and that's pretty much where all of us hung out, right? If kids weren't going to school or if they were just hanging out, we're all at the internet cafe. And that was it. We just all sort of hung out at the internet cafe, and I think my first game that I really like fell in love with would have been like Counter-Strike 1.4 or something ridiculous like that. And then I started to learn about games like Dark Age of Camelot and Diablo 1 and EverQuest, and there's a few other games that I just saw people playing and sort of started talking to them. We had a lot of Korean people in my area. In my school, there was 1,200 kids. There was only 5 Australian kids. So we grew up around a lot of like Koreans, a lot of Chinese, a lot of Vietnamese kids. So for us, it was like we saw a lot of these games being played. Like there was plenty of kids playing the Korean Lineage 1 servers, MU Online, a lot of the Chinese kids played and stuff like that. So it was something that we saw a lot of other people playing. And then due to my own story, sort of a longer story, gaming really helped me, and gaming really helped me get through a lot of things. But it was definitely like old school Counter-Strike, old school Diablo, stuff like that really like got me into gaming. It's what I really loved and really enjoyed. So yeah, that is a good question. Anyone that's seen my Draw Your Life video, which is quite a long video, or Vice actually last year did a documentary with me, sort of about my life and gaming and stuff like that. Gaming has changed my life in ways that I never thought would be possible. I haven't had, I guess, like sort of a default upbringing. You know, my parents went to prison when I was quite young multiple times, and I was homeless for quite a long time, and I'm sure that if you want to watch that video, I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere to it, or you can check it out. I'm not like an active YouTube person. I pretty much just stream, but the videos, they're available, or the Vice thing as well. There's a lot of bad things in my life that I didn't really sort of go into in the Draw Your Life, and there's a lot of things that I won't go into here, and I sort of leave all the really bad stuff out of those videos. But gaming for me personally has made me, like, I've been around the world pretty much, and I'm just some kid from Western Sydney, you know what I mean? I never thought I would be able to go to Europe. I never thought I'd be able to go to America. I never thought I'd be able to go to these places. I never thought I'd have an NPC in World of Warcraft. Like, for me, I'm not some great player. I don't have high percentiles for bosses, and I don't have all those types of things. I'm not that great at PvP anymore. Getting old, I'm 32. And if you're 25 and you say 32 is not that old, you don't understand yet. You will, but you don't understand yet. And it's just, gaming has allowed me to do things and experience things in my life that I never thought. Same with streaming. I never thought I would be able to do these things, and it blows my mind every single day. So for me personally, I actually didn't know about Twitch. A long time ago, I was playing in a guild called Dara McTire, and I was pretty well known in the guild, and this is when I was pretty decent at PvP, I guess, and Swifty and myself and a lot of other guys played, and one day, the person that ran Dara at the time was like, hey, would you be... That'll be good for the video. And I got hit up one day if I wanted to stream for Guild Wars 2. And being Australian, At the time, you couldn't even load a YouTube video and like play a game at the same time. It was pretty much impossible with the internet that we had. So I had no idea what streaming was. And this is sort of just the end transition of Justin TV moving into Twitch. And a little while later on, Soda ended up joining Dara McTy, and he was on our server and he was streaming. And obviously, I think the rapport with Soda and I was really, really good, because a lot of other people that were on the server and a lot of other people that knew him were like, oh man, we should play all the time together. We should play all the time together. Let's do this. Let's do this. And I literally had no idea who he was. And I think that really helped our friendship, because it was very organic, because I didn't want anything from him, and I didn't want him to like put me in all his YouTube videos and put me in his, at the time, you know, on his stream and all that sort of stuff. But we did end up playing together, and we did end up doing all these things together. And Swifty all the time was like, you got to stream, you got to stream. And there was a guy named Binbash who I did stuff with, who looked after a lot of things in Dara, and Binbash was probably the key point of what made me stream and really, really pushed me and got me to do those types of things. So I'd definitely say like Soda, Swifty, and Bajira, and Binbash were the guys that really like made me stream and told me about streaming, and I learned what it was. So yeah, those guys are the ones that made it happen. So I think the initial struggle of streaming was trying to get noticed, but I think it sort of ties into, I know the next question is, how do I think the struggles of streaming these days are compared to what it was like back then with oversaturation and there being way more streamers and stuff like that. I think the struggles back then, I want to put those two questions together, because I think I call it pre-am high, is the term that I use all the time on stream. So when I first started streaming, it was a lot easier, but keep in mind, you also had to have 600 concurrent, 700 concurrent to get a subscribe button. I remember I applied when I was averaging about 500 viewers, and they said no. So these days, the average is like 10 viewers to get partnered. And that's a good thing. Look, there's this illusion that there's not enough room for everyone on Twitch. Yes, there's a lot of people there, but freaking hell, the platform's so big. There's so much room for everyone. That's sort of the way that I think about it anyway. So these days, with there being so many people, and to tie it into obviously the initial question, for me initially I was very lucky that like Soda and Swifty and all those guys sort of were the ones to push me to stream. But originally I actually didn't do well. I did Guild Wars 2, and I was one of the first groups in the world to get max level, and that really, really helped, right? So Guild Wars 2, everyone was expecting it to pop off, and it did for a little while. The game was very, very good, and I was, top 5 in the world max level. We were pushing content ASAP, and we were sort of versing Creparian's group, so that sort of helped. And I think Athene did a group, and Swifty had a group, and Binbash and myself and the other guys that I was playing with, like Elemental Cutie and a lot of the other guys back then, were really, really into it. So that sort of helped that we were doing like world first content, and then we went into world PvP, and we pretty much smashed world PvP for majority of the time that we're interested in it. These days, with the sort of term that I say pre-am high, there was a guy that donated about $70,000 to Soda in a month a long time ago, and his name was Amhai, and he was from Dubai. After that happened, there was about 1,000 new full-time streamers. So when I first started streaming, it was a little bit easier, even under WoW, to sort of get noticed, because there was only 3, 4, 5 full-time streamers. These days, it's sort of as soon as Amhai donated that much money to Chance in a month, there was like 1,000 new full-time streamers the next day. Everyone was just sort of coming out from behind the grass like, oh, there's huge money here. Oh, by the way, guys, I now stream full-time. And it worked for a lot of people, man. A lot of people got hit with these huge donations, and a lot of people just sort of noticed that they could make money out of streaming, which is a bit of a bad thing as well, because there's a lot of people these days that sort of start streaming and they have their train of thought is, I'm going to stream and I'm going to make a lot of money. And I personally have always thought that if that's the way that you think, I don't think you're going to be successful, because you need to love what you do, because it's not what people expect. It's really not. So in regards to gaining an audience, I was quite well known for my Chinglish accent when I first started streaming. I don't really do it too much anymore these days, and with the new TOS, I don't even know if I can, to be honest. But yeah, so there was two things that I was known for. One will be coming back very, very soon. I was known for the use of green screens definitely probably the more popular one, I would do prison streams. Anyone that watches me knows that I pretty much have my entire body tattooed, including my full head and, you know, my arms and legs and back and sides and everything else. And I would get a green screen, hypothetically, it was real, obviously, and I would have a prison screen in the background or a prison cell in the background, and I made a legitimate intro sort of saying, you know, warning people, inmates involved in this program or in a work release program, please don't try and anger the inmates in the chat as they may react quite violently to you. And I would do things like that, right? I think one day I streamed from under Swifty's skateboard, and it was like literally just a loop video of a skateboard video playing in the background. Made no sense, right? But people loved it. I would stream from, I think I streamed from Duck Sauce's house once, where I just got a photo of his stream and then I put his stream into my background and it looked like I was streaming from his house. I would stream from like the toilet or like a tattoo studio, stuff like that. So I used a lot of green screen, which will be coming back soon because I'm moving into a new place where we can actually use a green screen again. So for me, I didn't really plan, and it's you know what, I will say after 6 years of streaming, there's a lot of things I probably could have planned a lot better. I probably should have planned more stuff. I probably should have played more things that aren't just WoW, but it's what I love. I'm 32 years old and I still wake up and I just want to play WoW. I know it's a hard thing for a lot of people to understand because there's games out there that are much better to stream viewer wise and stuff like that, but I love WoW and I enjoy streaming WoW. So I wake up and if I play something else, I'm thinking about playing WoW. So I just play WoW. There's been like little events that I've planned throughout the years, but when I initially started, I didn't have some like master plan to try and get viewers. Probably should have, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just turned my stream on and enjoyed. So I was working in Canada at the time. How I ended up in Canada is a story from my Try Your Life video. So I ended up in Canada, and the girl that I was with at the time was Canadian, obviously. And long story short, she was in Australia, and then she met me and took me back over to Canada with her. And so I was working in Canada. I was on a working visa, and at this point I'd started streaming when I was over there, and I was a few months into streaming, probably about 6 months into streaming, and I actually got hurt really bad while I was working in security. I was working in an area called Scotia Square in Nova Scotia and Halifax, and long story short, there was 3 guys in an alleyway. And I asked them to leave, and as I asked them to leave, I came out of a doorway and I was like, hey, you guys can't be here. Long story short, as soon as I asked them to leave, they said that's fine, and the guy that was sort of kneeling down in the middle, as he was getting up, he hit me in the top of the head with a bottle. So I grabbed the guy that was closest next to me, and they all started punching me, and then the guy who had the bottle tried to stab me in the face, and I sort of blocked it with my arm. As soon as he sort of like tried to stab me in the face, it stabbed my hand quite bad. So I let go and I sort of just guarded up for a couple of seconds. They all wailed on me and then started running. I remember like checking my head, checking my hand. I was like, all right, I'm pretty badly injured. But then I chased after them, but they went, I guess, the opposite direction of what I ran. The point of me telling you that story is the area that I worked in for security, there was a guy named Sam, an old Korean guy. And I would go into his store every night and we would talk, and he was the nicest guy I've ever met. And when I got really badly hurt, Sam actually said, like, I don't want you to do security work. And at this point, we'd known each other for about 6 months now. And he knew about streaming, and I sort of had shown him streaming and that sort of thing. And Sam actually gave me $5,000 when I was injured. He sat me down with my girlfriend at the time, and he sort of said, like, you're too funny to work in security, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to try this, he would call it the video game thing. And that was obviously very emotional for me. And that was the leap that I needed. And that was the big thing. Sam in Nova Scotia and Halifax, an old Korean guy. And that was it. That's all I needed to take that leap. And never spaghetti Sam. He's the greatest man. I still talk to him to this day. He's still a wonderful human being. So that was the thing that made me be able to stream full time. So good old Sam. I think the initial fears were, for me, I didn't start streaming when I was 18 years old or something like that. At the time I would have been like 27, 26 maybe, I don't even know. So I had bills to pay, right? If you start streaming and you're not living at home and you don't have like, you got a water bill to pay, you got an electricity bill to pay, you got rent to pay, you got to buy food. You're in a situation where you can't be as like, I'll just try streaming. If it doesn't work, whatever, I'll just stream full time, whatever. You can't really do that, right? You got bills to pay and you can't expect your partner to pay them. So there were my initial sort of scary things, or my initial things for streaming. My fears were more adult fears, as opposed to I'm not going to make it as a streamer. I was like, holy crap, if I don't do well, I'm not going to pay rent. So luckily, again, to go back to the last question, I had Sam that covered me for a few months. And then if it didn't work out after that few months, I would have been like, okay, I'm just going to go back to going to work, right? I'm not injured anymore. I'm going to go back to work. Luckily for me, for some silly reason, people enjoyed watching me on the internet, and pretty much I just yell and scream a lot at my chat and swear a lot because I'm Australian, but for some reason it works. I think the biggest thing, right? I think the biggest thing with starting streaming is just do it for fun. Just have fun. Look, there's this illusion that people turn on their stream and they're going to be as successful as Ninja. They're going to be as successful as Summit. They're going to be as successful as these huge guys where they get 500 subs a day. You know what I mean? And it's not reality. Yes, there is a very small 1% of players and streamers that get this insane amount of subs every single day. But if you're just Joe from down the road and you just started streaming, that's probably not how it's going to go for you. And that's the harsh reality, right? But if you're just doing it for fun and you're not doing it like, this is my first stream, I'm going to get 10,000 viewers a day. I went and bought a $5,000 computer setup and another setup of a computer to start streaming. You don't need to do that. You don't. I promise you, you don't. When I first started and Chance and I would stream together all the time, he was literally using a headset mic for years. He didn't have a dual streaming setup. He didn't have all those types of things. You don't need that stuff, especially if you're just starting. He didn't use a soundboard for years. And at the time, he was averaging, 5 to 10,000 viewers on one of the biggest streamers on Twitch. You don't need that stuff. So yeah, I promise you, if you're just going to start streaming, just do it for fun and just play the game that you want to have fun with. If you want to do new release games, do new release games if that's what you enjoy. If you enjoy WoW, just stream and enjoy WoW. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's Crash Bandicoot, play Crash Bandicoot. Just have fun. That's the absolute core of it for me, is you need to enjoy it. It's the same thing even to this day. I've been streaming 6 years. If I get to the point where I don't enjoy it, I'll stop streaming. It's that simple. You need to enjoy it. The money shouldn't be the thing. If you stream full time, obviously money has to be a factor. I'm 32 years old. I got to pay rent. I live in Sydney, Australia. I have a lot of rent to pay. So, but yeah, when you first start out, it just needs to be about enjoying yourself. That's the most advice I can ever give anyone. I think you should prioritize consistency. I think is the biggest thing with streaming in general. Even if you do it for fun, if you really want to build an audience and you really want to sort of go out there and you want to, try and make something of this, even if it's a slow rolling effect, or if you really want it to snowball, biggest thing you can have, in my opinion, and we've been asked to speak about this on panels, we've been asked to do that side of the thing all over the world, whether it be at DreamHack or whether it be in PAX in the States and a few events in Canada and here in Australia. Consistency is always the answer that streamers will give you. If you can only stream 3 hours a week, make sure you're live for those 3 hours a week. Make sure that you're on for those 3 hours a week. That certain 3 hours where people can go, oh, Sandy's going to be streaming in an hour. I know she's going to be there. Make sure that you're there. That's the biggest tip that I can ever give anyone when it comes to streaming. So tips and tricks for streaming. I'll go back to the thing that I said a little bit earlier. Please don't go out there and spend $10,000 on a streaming setup. That's my tip and tricks. Don't go out there and do it. If you're going to buy excessive little things for your stream, buy yourself like a stream deck. Buy yourself something that allows you to change these little transitions. There are some people on Twitch. I watch so many channels that don't have an insane amount of viewers, and the amount of cool things that I've seen people do with stream decks and with other little devices like that are insane. Whether it be a little transition screen or something that pops up on the screen, or a noise when someone subs or something like that, right? It's simply just a button you can press and it will do that. Yeah, that's about it. Don't go out and spend crazy amounts of money, and a stream deck is really important and really, really good, in my opinion. I think another bit would be, another thing to focus on is social media. I don't really use Facebook too much. I pretty much just post I'm going live there. As surprising as it is, Instagram's actually a pretty good one these days, and Twitter is fantastic. Even if you're not really invested in social media or you don't really care for it, I would be saying if you do want to stream, get some social media behind you, because for whatever reason, if you do take off, a lot of people will contact you there, or they'll look for your business email or anything like that from your Twitter. So that would be my as well. That would be my thing, is just, you know, get yourself a Twitter, get yourself maybe an Instagram, whether it be a Snapchat or anything like that, and just start using it, start being active on it, and have a way for people to sort of connect with you outside of the stream. Obviously, as well, when it comes to streaming, one of the biggest things you can do, and one of the biggest things that I was known for, I guess, when I first started streaming, is being super interactive. Be as interactive as you can. Try and respond to as many people as you can. Try and respond to as much stuff as you can. And just always try and make sure people have that sort of, you know, rapport with you where they can connect with you. Because one day your stream might not be big enough and you might not be able to read every comment in the chat. So while you can really take advantage of that and build this rapport with people, and enjoy it, you know, enjoy having a community that's there while you have it. You know what I mean? Just really try and be as responsive as you can. So schedule's really, really tight. Make sure that you're always there. Focus on, you know, a community and focus on building a community. Don't do it for just the money, like I've said 1,000 times already. And don't go out there and buy some crazy setup. So yeah, that would be my advice. So sort of a final note thing that I wanna add in here, just for the end of this. One thing that some people either really try and stay away from, or one thing that they really try and go into a lot, is now the term leech on Twitch. It's I'll be honest with you, I've been streaming for 6 years, and I'm very lucky to be friends with a lot of different streamers. And this is me being as true as I can be. You know what's one thing I probably should have done throughout the years, is leech more. I really should have. I really, really should have. If you have friends that stream, if you have friends that do those types of things, I have way too much pride to where at the end of the day, it probably hurts my streaming career, right? I don't really reach out that often and be like, hey man, can we do stuff together? Because I don't want my friendship with that person to be about me trying to use them for views. A lot of the time, I just want to play games with friends, right? But even though I don't do that, I don't go out there and say it, because I'm worried that that's the narrative that'll create. Don't look at it as leeching, no matter what people say. Playing with other friends, and even if they're not a streamer, right? Playing with other people is also a great way to build your audience. If you're lucky enough to have a friend that streams, or that they're known for something on the internet, try and do events with them, because it will help your stream grow. And don't think of it as leeching. Just think of it as you like networking, because networking happens in every other industry, and it certainly happens in streaming as well, because that person might have a huge part of their audience that enjoy you. And you know, if you guys stream at exactly the same time, then sometimes streamers or YouTubers or whatever, they might not be too keen to do it, because they might feel like you're going to lose a lot of your audience to you. I certainly don't have that mentality. I think that there's room for everyone. I think it's a bit of a silly way to think about it, but at the same time, that's probably why I'll never be like a 2 million sub person or something like that, right? Because I really want everyone to grow and I want everyone to do well. So yeah, networking and doing stuff with other people, I think, is a really, really, really good way to get out there and get your name out there and maybe get you noticed by a few other people. And I think that that's a really important thing. I can't stress that enough. And I just want to say that, you know, if you guys really do enjoy these videos, again, please make sure, you know, you let them know, because I know that there's Zayu, there's so many good people on the, you know, whether it be Sko or the Sea-Doos, and we've got so many good people in the Method roster that would love to make videos like this, I'm sure. And, you know, ranging from PvE lords to PvP lords, and then people like me, I'm just some old dude, you know, getting old anyway. And for some reason, people enjoy watching me. So I hope that one of you out there enjoyed this video at least. I have been Chinglish TV, or Ryan. You can follow me at Chinglish TV on pretty much everything. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it's all Chinglish TV, or Chinglish TV on Twitch. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I probably rambled on, and it's probably going to be quite a long video, but I truly hope this helps at least one person, or it was an interesting thing. If you guys want to know more about sort of my backstory, because I know I touched on a few things here and there, I'm sure there'll be a link in the description, or you can always come into my chat and ask for it. And then my half an hour draw your life videos there, or the Vice things there as well. End of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed again, and I hope you guys enjoy the content that Method does. I'm very proud and very happy to be part of the Method family, and I really love the people that are involved in this. Obviously, shout out to Sasha, shout out to Sko, shout out to Dari. That's the Mama Method, and there's a lot of other people that you guys don't see behind the scenes, and shout out to them as well. So Pleb Central and all the other guys that do all the art stuff. Love yous all. Thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Enjoy streaming, and see you on Twitch. Peace.